Solarus are a Canadian female-fronted heavy metal band. They have 2 albums out. The album I'm reviewing at the minute is their 3rd album that is yet to be released. It comes out December 15th. I was provided this album over a month in advance to obviously listen and review it and to bring it out early for people. The band have not paid me, and they're demanded that I sing the praises about it. They want me to go in and with my humble opinion, and that is what it's going to be. So this is all just what I personally think. So, going into it, when a band makes an album, they want to improve on what came before it. So when you enter the studio, there is always these mentalities of what the band wants to achieve. You want to be better than your previous album, and you want to offer something new, but obviously stay true to yourself and don't alienate the fans. So number 1, being better than the previous album. Check, this album is definitely superior to the previous album in every single format. Vocals are better, production is better, the mix is better, the guitars are better, the bass is better, the drums are better, the song structures are better, and even the album cover has also improved. On every front, the band is stepping it up, even making their own personal store to actually sell this album. Just everything you can think about, music videos, everything. They are being dead serious with this. They have definitely put blood, sweat and tears into the creation of this album. And from talking with Lucas MacArthur, the founding member and lead guitarist, I can assure you that they definitely did put blood, sweat and tears into this. Going into this album, they wanted this to definitely mean something. And I'm sure the previous 2 albums, they obviously put the effort in, of course they did. But with this album, it's like everything is riding on this album. The whole career and their lives are riding on this. So they are being serious with this album. This is it for them now. They pushed each other incredibly hard, and you can tell. So I'm sure there was tears going into this because they pushed very, very hard. Across the board, there has been improvements from Sarah, whose range has definitely increased. She sings with a lot more confidence. The mix has obviously improved her voice, so it sounds a lot cleaner and nicer. She sings with a lot more vocal melodies. She keeps changing her vocal melodies and tempos to keep the energy up and alive, keep the emotion flowing through the songs. Her range has drastically improved. This album, Sarah does things that no one has actually ever heard from her before. Not in her solo albums, not in any of the Solarus stuff. She does brand new things in this album. So she obviously has really amped up her game and is offering completely new things. From a guitar standpoint, you get 2 lead guitarists now instead of the 1. You only get it in 2 solos, unfortunately, but the 2 solos, which do have the 2 guitarists doing lead, are more of the more phenomenal kind of solos on the album, if not the best for it. Overall, the guitars have really amped up. Solarus do leads for all of the intros to every single track. A lot of the verses are very technical and complex. The musicianship throughout is complex. The drumming has a lot more energy and complexities to it, a lot more aggression. Throughout the board, everything has been amped up. Then the next thing a band wants to do, as I said, is to do something new and improve, but not lose who they are. This has also been achieved. Going back to Sarah, she has reached new levels of singing that no one has heard before. So she is known as having a really angelic kind of voice and everything, and this goes into this album and has also been improved upon. She sings all sorts of vocal melodies and tempo shifts, shifting melodies. She sings with a lot of heart and passion. You can kind of tell the kind of energy she feels. If she goes into a song, you can tell that she is in high energy. You can tell when she's a bit more somber on something. You can feel the performance she puts in with every single vocal part that she puts through. She has high notes, she has sustained notes, she sings a lot more kind of softly, more aggressive, high energy, low energy. There's a massive mix and display on this. One of the better aspects that Sarah brings forward, which is the new thing which everyone needs to be excited for, is she brings an operatic singing style that she's never done before. So think Nightwish, like Tarja, that opera style of singing. Sarah now starts actually delving into this on this album, which she has never done before, and she does it pretty well. The first track, you got it in little teaser, little elements, and then track 3 is when that fully commits to that with the chorus, where she really delves into that. And it's big, it's epic, it's orchestral, it's huge, it's fantastic. So along with all of the energies and the displays of emotion and the range, and then also singing in an operatic kind of style as well, which is very difficult and complex and sounds absolutely huge. Just Sarah is obviously showing a massive range on this album and massive emotion and great stability through the whole album. And then the guitars are also bringing new things. You got gent in one of the songs, you've got power metal, high energy, technical riff, you got the technical intros, you got melodies, you got solos where there's 2 guitarists doing the solos, which has never happened before. You get a lot of new things on this album here. But why should you listen to Solarus? What brings you to them? In today's era, we have thousands, if not millions, of metal bands. We have so many subgenres of metal. We have many people going into metal. We have so many people copying metal and trying to stand on their own. And Solarus are still relatively new. They're not even really well heard of, only having just over 1,000 followers on Facebook at the moment. So, honestly, why should you listen to them? What is Solarus doing which means this you should listen to? There is many other bands out there. There are many bands that we all have heard and who we follow. So why should we be paying attention to Solarus? Solarus don't do the conventional approach when it comes to genre or songwriting in general. And by that I mean, when a band comes into a genre, you follow that genre. When it comes to songwriting, there is a formula of how to write a song, and then many bands stick to that. Many bands just go in and just copy other bands and just hope they do it better because they may have a slightly better singer, or maybe they're slightly more technical on the guitar. But Solarus completely do something different. Let's look at a genre like power metal. Power metal is mostly just all incredibly technical, huge powerful vocals, and then sings about, for the most part, fantasy, which is a bit cringe in my opinion for me. And that is kind of it. When you look at symphonic metal, you get orchestral stuff, you get choirs, you get all sorts of these huge things, and they're talented singer, and it sounds big and epic with so many instrumentation going on. But from a guitar standpoint, you don't really have a lot. You don't really get that kind of thrash metal in orchestral music. You don't get technical riffs and massive leads. You leave it to the vocalist, who has big open spaces in the verses and then massive orchestral stuff in the choruses. So the guitars are left by the wayside. This is the confinement bands have with genres, but Solarus take that and say, you know what, nah, we're not going to do that. They don't stick to the confines of genres, they share them. They utilize all of them and combine them all into one. This album has power metal, traditional metal, symphonic metal, elements of prog metal, and even another genre that is being left a secret at the moment, but I will get to it in a later video. So that's 5 genres that have been defined here, and they do that by basically every single song has a lead from Lucas, the guitarist. This brings incredible energy from the get-go into the song. It gives you something appealing to listen to instead of just going through a typical chord progressing riff until you just get to the vocalist and that's all you're waiting for. You get that display, that melody, that talent from Lucas, the energy, the melodies, the beauty, the technicality of it. And you get that in every song to start with, which is a kind of trait of kind of power metal. You get verses where Lucas can be playing quite technical and challenging stuff. And when it comes to this, especially with a female vocalist, that usually has to stop. If you have an angelic voice, that is usually met with the guitars being completely cut out and just having bass and drum, because the energy and aggression of the guitar would drown out such a pure voice. Or a female can do it, but usually the female will lean into a more masculine kind of sound in order to run alongside that aggression. That doesn't happen here. Sarah, she has an angelic voice. Why should you stop doing that? Why should she sacrifice that in order for Lucas to do his stuff? And why should Lucas sacrifice his amazing technical riffing for the guitar enthusiasts to make way for Sarah's angelic voice? Why sacrifice either? And again, that is what Solaris do not do. They do not follow that rule book. Sarah sings angelic with a beautiful voice, but the intro to every song, you got the technical guitar enthusiast melody, creativity, brilliance, plus verses that are technically pleasing. Not all the time, they don't just absolutely hammer it out and it's just Dragon Force through and through, but they keep dabbing into cross genres. So some verses, yes, they're very technical and challenging with an angelic voice. Then we get the symphonic nature. We get orchestral stuff that is in parts of the album. And also Sarah. As I said, she sings operatic in a few of the songs on this album. And when she does that, it comes with symphony, but the song can still have that lead intro. It can still have technicality in certain areas and also a solo. So everything's just being combined. So while you get thousands and thousands of bands where it's like, this is power metal, and you can't leave it, so every band just sounds exactly the same, sticking to a formula. And then symphonic, every band sounds the same, stick to that formula. Prog, stick to that formula. Solaris do not do that. They take the best of every genre and they blend it together. So you get something that has basically the best of all worlds. You get the brilliant musicianship. You can take Sarah out of it. In symphonic metal or something where you just get an amazing vocals that is push and everything's left to the wayside, if you take the vocalist out, the music is left quite bland. But with Solaris, you take Sarah out, the music kind of stands on its own. And then Sarah still stands on her own because she doesn't have to sacrifice anything to make way for what they do. It's absolutely brilliant. And then from the prog side of things, this is basically the songwriting, which is another step up that Solaris has taken here. The songwriting constantly shifts. And this is again a rule book thing that bands follow, as I previously mentioned. You have the start opening of the track. You just open your song, try to get to the verse. Then the vocalist will take over. You do your verse, you do your chorus. And that might be the entirety of a song. That is passable as a song. And a lot of bands just stick to that and don't challenge it. Solarus again throwing out the rule book, going, you know what, we're not just going to do this. We are not going to basically just do a verse, chorus, and then that be it. That be the entirety of the song. Let's keep offering something new, something fresh. So as they keep going through the song, everything is new, everything is fresh, everything is still exciting and not predictable and just the same as what we've given them before. Let's keep writing. Let's keep creating. They're musicians. They create. That is what they do. Every song, more some than others, but near enough every single song, all the gears are shifting. As I said, you get all your lead intros, all different from one another, but in every track. Then you get into your verse. Sarah will have a melody, Lucas will be doing his own thing, and then in that same verse, they can change it up again. Sarah could go through about 3 variations of vocal melodies and pitches and tones. Lucas can change it up about 3 times in one verse. And when it comes to the second verse, all 3 versions of that scrapped to make way for another 3. That makes a big song condensed into like 5 minutes. It's so much energy, so much display. And even after the solo, which usually comes back to the verse, you can still have another new segment in there. That is a song that consists of, I've lost count. It is unbelievable songwriting and very complicated. It's not simple, just do your verse, do your chorus, and that is it. You're constantly changing it and making sure everything flows together and progressing, and everything has to fit the one song. This is why Solarus is so good. The cross genres, the songwriting, it is phenomenal. Standout tracks for me is going to be the third track, The Keeper. The Keeper has probably the most gear changing through a song. There are so many elements to The Keeper, and it's where Sarah brings her orchestral kind of vocals to the forefront. A band, not every band, but some bands will do a song which stands the test of time, which goes down in their history as one of their greatest. The Keeper is that for Solarus. The Keeper is so above and beyond everything Solarus have done. Everything just fit with that song. Everything came together. Everything fits. It is a phenomenal song because of all the shifting and changing. The album is only got 9 tracks. It's only 48 minutes, so it's not overly long, not overly short. Just that little sweet spot, but as I said, just 9 tracks. But the majority of the tracks last around 5 minutes, the longest track being 9 minutes right at the end. But with the amount they put into it, you can't really argue that 9 tracks isn't really enough. Because a band that has, 12 tracks are still offering way less than everything that Solarus shove into their songs. The vocal performance, the guitar, the musicianship, the songwriting, is just absolutely phenomenal. So I've given praise, so is there anything bad about the album? You could kind of say The Keeper can be too good that it can probably harm. I don't think it's going to, but it's so above everything else that because of that, it can make everything else kind of seem inferior to an extent. They're all still great, but The Keeper is so much better. It's like absolute gold in the midst of everything else. So it kind of stands out like a sore thumb, which can kind of make the songs that kind of come before and after kind of feel like a little kind of less. Although my second favourite track does kind of come after The Keeper, The Wandering, because that I think has great vocal melodies and a lot of different shifts in the verses. So I kind of like that momentum, that energy constantly going. And as I say, that's the great thing about Solarus. It is multi-genre defining, taking the best of all worlds. It's all the musicians being at the top of their game. It is songwriting that constantly shifts and adapts, keeps the energy going. The songs are alive, they flow. Sarah sings with great emotion, fantastic range. It is a near perfect album. I don't really have a bad track. I don't really have anything really wrong to say besides the Keeper is so good that it can maybe cause some decrement to the other tracks, but I don't know if that's going to be too much of the case. The last track, the one that kind of nearly hits 9 minutes, I think is probably a little too padded, if I am to be honest. Also, Troy, the new guitar player, as I say, only has 2 solos. I do feel like that's a bit of a problem because Troy brings a whole new kind of range and personality into his playing over Lucas. He has a different tone, he has a different style. So I do feel that the solos with the 2 are the best on the album because the solos are longer, there's more to it compared to the rest. So I am kind of disappointed that there isn't a bit more from that, if I'm to be honest. The title track is well with the special guest, which brings a whole new genre. As I say, that takes it to 5. For me personally, if I'm going to be really honest, I know the band are really hyping and are super happy about this special guest and hopes it does a lot for them. But it's a genre I'm not keen on, and I have made that abundantly clear on my channel, so I can't really say I adore it, because clearly I'll be lying. So the title track for me personally is the weakest. It's because I just don't like that style, but I understand a lot of people do, and it is a famous person, so a lot of people are gonna love it and adore it, and it probably is gonna bring more people in. But for me personally, I just don't think it matches Solarus. Solarus have all that melody and musicality, so with the special guest and what it brings, I think it kind of takes away from that. I think it would have been better as somebody else. But as I say, that is just me, and my opinion is not really a really popular one on this matter, so it's going to be fine. So an opinion that no one else really shares, and that's what my worst track is, clearly kind of means the album is going to be pretty much flawless. So that is it from me. Moving on from here, I am going to be going track by track, and I'm going to split it into 3 videos, doing 3 tracks a video, going in depth, breaking down everything before the album drops, so you will know exactly what's being done and what is displayed and reviewing them. I am also going to be having short little clips of the songs I'm talking about, so you will be able to actually hear them before the album. It's not going to be the whole songs, I am going to be talking over it, and it's only going to be a few seconds. So I hope to see you all there. I would obviously recommend this album. It is fantastic. I'd recommend to go out and buy it. Support the band. As I said, they only have like 1,000 followers. It is insane that there are bands that fill arenas that barely put the effort in, and Solarus have definitely poured it out and put a lot in. Like, the songwriting is complex in itself. So much effort. Go support them.